Hi, I'm Shynie from Shynie Things. Today I wanted to walk you through one of my favorite go-to designs. We're going to start off with 3 wires. I'm not really too picky about measuring. I just kind of look at the stone and do a little bit extra for the bail. But these wires are 23 centimeters and then this wire is about 20 centimeters. We're going to use these wires to make the prongs. We're going to place our pliers about where we want the prong to sit and make our first bend. Now we're going to grab about a little over 1/2 centimeter and bring the wire down. I like to flatten it out a little bit because sometimes it'll be all wonky like that. So I'll just take my pliers and flatten it out. Now I'm going to take these nifty pliers. These guys have like a little notch in them to make this step much easier. You can do this step with these type of pliers or these type of pliers. This just makes it a lot easier. We're going to take what we just did and place it in the notch and clamp down. If you're doing it with these kinds of pliers, you just have to take it really slow. Okay, now we're going to flatten it out a little bit and tighten it up. Now we're going to take our round nose pliers again and you want to touch right on the other side so that this side they're both even. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. There we go. I've never been proper about measuring, so I kind of just lay the wire next to the stone and make a very educated guess on where I want the prong to be. And make my bend. Okay, my little trick to try and make the prongs even, since I hate measuring, is I just grab a little bit higher than the previous prong and bend it down and clamp it like we did before, and then they should be even. Somewhat. And if it's not super even, I can kind of just correct it a little bit and tighten up the ends until it is even. And I see a little gap, so I'm just gonna clamp it together. Okay, that's about even. Now to get the placement of the top prongs, I'll just again set the stone near the wire and take a very educated guess. Sure. I'm just tightening up the bend a little bit. I'm just going to do the same to this other wire using this wire as a guide, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to weave these two together using a 24 gauge wire. We're just going to start off by attaching the 24 gauge wire to the back, the wire that you intend to be on the back, by wrapping it around 3 or 4 times. I'm just gonna squoosh it. Okay, now we're gonna want to bring our weaving wire over here because we're gonna add in our straight wire. Just right up next to this first wire here. And we're gonna wrap both of the wires twice. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then after that, to secure this in place, we're gonna wrap once around the straight wire. Just come up around and tightly. You may even need to get your tools involved. Tightly secure it. Okay, now we're going to add in our third and final wire. Try to get it as close as you can, lining up the prongs. Now we're going to wrap around these two, the two right wires. The last two wires that we just added twice. Make sure each wrap is very tight, but not tight enough that it pulls the wire close together. Now we're going to bring the wire all the way around all three on the back side, and then up around the front, wrapping around the first two wires twice. Make sure it's nice and tight. 1, 2. To continue, we are going to wrap around these two wires, and then these two wires, and then these two wires, and then these two wires, basically continuing this pattern. And I'll catch back up when we hit the prongs. Okay, so we've gotten to the prongs, and we've gotten as far as we can up to it, to where you would almost need to jump over to the other side like this diagonally to continue the weave. So in that instance, I'm going to wrap it around this middle wire around 3, sometimes 4 times, and then continue our weave straight on after that. Okay, here we go. I've just wrapped it around 3 times, that middle wire, and that just fills in that gap to where I don't have to start my weave diagonally. So it just makes it a little more clean. So I'm just gonna continue that same weave now along this whole band. Okay, when we get to the end of the weave, we're just gonna finish by wrapping it around 3 times on this same back wire here, but on this side. 1, 2, 3. All right, now I'm just going to take the band and grab something round and circular, and I'm going to bend Basically, we're just going to bend the band and make it fit around the stone. Making minor adjustments. Okay, I like that. Now I'm going to making sure I'm leaving a little bit of space in here. We're gonna bend where we want the wires to meet. Just roughly, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then close it up. I'm just gonna take a 20 gauge wire and secure it in place. I'm just gonna trim it and tuck the ends. Okay, now I'm gonna take the very first two longer wires and kind of move these off to the side. And I'm gonna twist them. They wanna go that way. I'm gonna twist them. And then I'm just gonna take my pliers to tighten up the twist. And this is gonna turn into the bail. We're just gonna bend it around something circular. And then I like to put a little notch where I want it to end and just kind of help it out. I do like a flat top to my bail. We're gonna take this thin 20 gauge wire and wrap it around tightly to secure it, going under the little tails. Okay, and after about 2 passes, I'm going to trim off the excess from the bail. Maybe we'll do 3 passes. Okay, now I'm going to trim off the excess from the bail. And then wrap a couple more times. Okay, to finish it, I'm just going to bring it around, wrap it around the bail on the back side. Nice and snug. And then you want to make sure the end is on the inside of the bail, not on the outside, so it's not pokey. Okay, now we have a bail. With these tails, you kind of can just do whatever you want with them. This is where the creativity can flow, so you can kind of bend them and just see what shape it takes. We just have to make sure the ends are secured and not sharp. So I'm just a little worried about this short end here not being able to wrap around. Spiral it is. Okay, so I'm just going to trim these short and turn them into little loops. just so they're not sharp. And then we're gonna turn this into a spiral after the stone is in. We're gonna start bending the prongs in. You wanna take pliers that look like this, and then grab about halfway down the prong, maybe a little less, and then just do a slight bend, like that. And we're gonna go all the way around and just do a slight bend. And we're gonna put the stone in. And since we haven't tightened the prongs up, it'll sit back nicely and not get in the way while we bend the front prongs. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do just like a slight bend at first. Oh, sure. Okay. Now we're gonna go in and line up our stone. We're gonna go in and very oh, that's not curved enough. Hold on. We're gonna go in and line up our stone with the band, and then very gently press it into place. We're gonna go and check our work. We're just gonna finish it off with a spiral. Kind of push it into place by hand. Here we go. Obviously, if you want to take this to more of a science, you can do more measuring, but I have never been about that life, and it's always turned out about fine. I've just always found that I've gotten more errors when I measure, so I just do it based on feel, and it's always worked out.
All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching.